Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell were quiet last night compared to the offensive outburst we'd seen earlier this series. Murray finished with 17 points on 7 for 21 shooting from the floor, but escaped with the win. Mitchell had a team-high 22 points, but also had a late, costly turnover. So, Shannon, what letter grade do you give Murray and Mitchell for last night?
Skip, I'm going to start with Mitchell first. I don't know how he gets a passing grade. 2 points in the fourth quarter. 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter. He was stripped late. He had 9 turnovers and 1 assist, and they lost the game. So I don't know how do I get a passing grade out of that.
So you're going F?
Yeah, I got to give him an F. I don't have no choice, Skip. I mean, because he had been so sensational, and it's not like, you know, when you take tests, Skip, you don't get like, well, you get A. Well, he's been getting a lot of A's, so I automatically just gonna give him an A on the next test. No, I'm gonna grade you accordingly. And last night was not his finest moment. He did not play well, and maybe it was fatigue. I understand it was Game 7, but this is when you can really create a legend for yourself.
Yep.
Is the moments like this here. And this is why football players, Skip, the guys that perform in the playoffs, because every football game in the playoff is a Game 7. Because ain't no Game 4, Skip. Okay, we lost, we come back to get them to Game 5. Every game in the playoffs is a Game 7.
Yep.
That's what makes it so heightened. For Jamal Murray, Skip, I'm gonna give him a D. They won. That's the only thing passing I can give him. Because you look at a guy, Skip, he was averaging about 20 points in the fourth quarters. And he got 4 points on 2 of 7. He was 0 of 2 from the three-point line and 7 of 21 field goal, 1 for 6 from the 3. And, Skip, I still believe it was a mistake in a situation like that. You pull that ball out and you make them foul you. And so I believe that was a mistake. It didn't end up costing them. But so I'm going to give him a D, and I'm going to give Donovan Mitchell an F.
Okay. I start by saying how much I love both these young men. And they put on a show of shows for 6 games. But the stage got too big for both of them in Game 7. And I was highly disappointed and deflated about both their performances last night. I'm going to go D and D. I can't go fail because they both had their moments that would raise them above a flunk grade. So let's go Donovan first, and I told you to start the show. When you have 9 turnovers and 1 assist, you get D as in disqualified on that right there. But at least you had a flurry that helped get you back in the game. They were down 19 with a minute gone in the third quarter, and at least you had something to do with the rally. And you did make 9 of 22 shots, even though you were only 2 of 8 from 3.
Right.
But I'll give you that much. And you did have 1 basket with 2.5 minutes left when he drove it and sort of hand scooped it up and in. I'll give you that. So I'm going to give him a D. But I also reiterate what I said to open the show. There were too many possessions from the mid-fourth quarter to the end in which he stood over on the side with his hands on his knees because I think he was either gassed. I'm going to give him gassed. Maybe I'm giving him a pass. But you have to go get the ball from Mike Conley Jr. You kept forcing him to create a play that at age 32, after all the playoff miles he has on those legs and knees, he's not capable of making. So Mike Conley goes 1 of 7 in the fourth quarter because you kept making him shoot it when he didn't want to shoot it. You don't have Bogdanovich as your second scorer, and it was Mike Conley with Donovan just saying, no, go ahead, you do it. Me? Okay, I'll try. I'll try to do something here. Mike Conley goes 2 of 13 for the game, and obviously he shoots the 3 that lips in and lips out at the buzzer.
Right.
Okay, so Donovan didn't impress me through the fourth quarter with his will to win. Give me the damn ball and get out of my way.
Right.
Which brings me back to Jamal. And by the way, Donovan had averaged 39 a game for the first 6. And he scored 22 last night and went 2 of 8 from 3. Okay. Now, Jamal, he had averaged 34 a game. He was half that last night with 17 and went 1 of 6 from 3. And I told you in 3 Game 7s he's now played, he has 1 3-pointer to his name. Not good enough. So you said he'd scored 20 a game. I checked this just now. He had averaged in the fourth quarters and overtime of those first 6 games, 16 a game. Well, that's extraordinary.
Right.
16 points. Most people would take 16 for a game in the playoffs. And in those fourth quarters, 6 games, in 1 overtime, I believe it was, he made 16 of 19 three-point shots.
Right.
That's preposterous.
Skip, and both guys,
What?
Donovan Mitchell made the most threes in a series in NBA history with 33. The second place was Jamal Murray with 32. They tied Steph Curry, who made 32 in the 2016 finals against the Cavs.
Okay, so Jamal had made 16 of 19 threes in 6 fourth quarters plus 1 overtime.
Right.
Last night in overtime, he scored 4 points and went 0 of 2 from 3. It's just not good enough.
Right.
The stage was too big. Throats are tightening. Pulses are pounding. It's Game 7, and this is a new deal.
And even though, Skip, it's in the bubble, you're in prime time. That's a whole different ball game.
You in prime time. 9 o'clock Eastern.
They put that
earlier.
Yeah, 8:30. They put that in prime time because because they saw what was going on. Like, we might get one of those.
By the way, it was on ABC.
Yes, Skip. So the reason why I look at Donovan, Skip, in the first half, he was 3 of 7 from the field. He was 1 of 3 from the three-point line. He was 5 turnovers, -9. So the predicament that they were in, he helped aid that.
He did. In fact, he had 1 basket to his name until a minute was left in the first half.
Yes. So, Skip, that's not good enough. You're the leader. You can't have that.
No.
And especially you see Conley struggling. You see Ingles struggling. You see O'Neal struggling. You have to say, you know what, guys? I got you. I'm gonna carry this thing as long as I can until you guys find a rhythm. You can't struggle along with them and like, well, nah, I just don't have it. You expected more, Skip, but the 9 turnovers with the 1 assist, and they lost, Skip. If they had won, you could possibly give him a C because at the end of the day, the objective is to win the game. But Skip, you have 9 turnovers with 1 assist, and you shoot 9 of 22 from the floor. I can't give you no passing grade with that one.
Okay. All right. And speaking of those turnovers, could we one more time see the 9th and last turnover?
Right.
And how Donovan reacted after the turnover? Because I had a big problem with this, if we could please see it. He tries to drive it right on Gary Harris, who jumps it and pushes him back to his left. Then he spins, and Gary Harris pokes the ball free. Jamal's got it. Where is Donovan Mitchell?
Laying on the ground.
He's pouting at the other end. He thinks the game is over. Kids don't do this at home because Donovan Mitchell there standing. He had his arm. I think he was still saying, give me the ball. I'm open. You have to jump up and chase the play. If you had chased the play to the other end, maybe if you got to the top of the circle, when Rudy comes up with the missed layup rebound, maybe Rudy sees you first instead of Mike Conley, and you do have the ball, and you have 2.5 seconds to dribble it 3 times and shoot a long-distance jump shot to win it.
He should have just kicked this ball. Murray should have just passed this ball to Gary Harris and let time run out because they wouldn't have been able to get it.
I told you how I felt about that. If you were sure you got it.
That is
Torrey Craig, who missed the layup.
Yeah.
It's Torrey Craig who missed the layup.
Missed the layup. But I'm saying Harris was on the flank, so just pass it to him.
That. But I told you how I feel about that. If you have a 2-on-1 and you are dead solid sure that he is going to dagger dunk it, because that's going to put you up 4, then go for it.
Go for it.
But you better be sure that you got it, because you don't got it, because it's Game 7, and Torrey Craig leaves it a little short trying to lay it in off the glass.
I wouldn't want to chance that, but as you mentioned, with what we had seen from these guys in the previous, now Jamal Murray hadn't been as consistent as Donovan because there were a couple of games in there, Skip. I think games 2 and 3, he was in the teens as far as scoring. But games 4, 5, and 6, he was off the chart. Donovan has been a little bit more consistent. He scored 20 points in at least 20.
Denver fell behind 3-1.
Exactly. And then he went bonkers. And for him to go bonkers and then only have 17, but he won. So, Skip, you got to get a grade. You got to get a letter grade just for winning. But Donovan didn't play well last night. He didn't play well.
The joke was on Donovan because Joker was on the other team and he did play well.
And that was one of the reasons why I picked Utah, because I felt if Jamal Murray didn't play well, Joker could pick up the slack.
You picked Denver, right?
Yeah, I picked Denver. That's why I felt they could win. It's because basically it was 2-on-1. It was 2-on-1.
It was. And now it's going to be like 8-on-1 or 8-on-2. I'll give you 2 because the Clippers are going to
Come on, Joe.
with them in 5.
Okay.
In 5.
Okay, what do you got? You got
I got to see how things play out.
See how things play out. Okay.
We
all
might
right,
sign
I'll give you some
Dikembe.
time.
Yeah.
And those two, both 23 years old, guys. So we've got so much to look forward to. I liked the image of Murray consoling Mitchell after the game. Like, a lot of respect between the two after a hard-fought series.
Yep.
Is this the season we see Tom Brady's production take a plunge? Shannon, you've been saying that for a while, and you haven't gotten it right yet. Let's see what you say next on Undisputed.
No